Yes, it does. We are on live from our houses. It is the first ever live Sunday roast. Oh boy, we are nervous with the nuts and bolts of this, and Morgs has been working his ass off behind the scene. But we are live for the 100k Sunday roast to review the round, give you the best odds that you may have missed during the week, and just talk all things footy. Joining me, Darcy Ballard. Dome, how are you, mate?
Jev, what a round of footy. It's been very interesting. Some different sort of results, but it is good to be finally back on the first roast. I've been able to go through, as you did mention, Jev, we go through all the markets. Obviously, everyone always talks before the games, how much things paid. But then sometimes you see some people pop up, they might kick 3 or 4 goals. Like, geez, I'd love to know how much he paid. Well, we have that for you, and we will be previewing every single game, pretty much apart from the Freo Brisbane game, the Bachelor's game. Unless if you're single, you won't be watching that because no one else watches that time slot.
Eyes shut, watching Survivor on the couch with the missus. I am not watching that game. It is too late on a Sunday. That is a Bachelor's game. Only if you're single, you see that game, as we said. So let's get into it, Dar. So we'll start all the way back to Thursday. Your boys, Carlton versus the Richmond Tigers. You win by 5 points in a good Thursday night game, as you would have wanted it to be the season opener. I'll just let you go here. Talk to me.
Jev, what is better than a Lynx pack at Christmas?
What's that?
It's beating the Tigers round 1 at the MCG under 83,000. I wish I was there, but I was at work, had it in the ears, but I have gone back and rewatched it. So we start off, Harry Mackay kicked the first, paying $9.25, Jev. He got laced out by Brody Kemp, took it 20 metres out, went back, and we saw his routine the first game. Absolutely slotted. I thought I went back and rewatched it today as well. I thought the ball movement was really good, and watching over the first 2 weeks, we've been trying to go north to south really fast and a lot of real forward handballs. We got on top of them, but credit to the Tigers, even when they did go down a little bit injured, they just surged and they just kept going. And even though they did get a couple of very cheap free kicks in the first quarter, the umpiring was shit house, I thought, the whole game. But at least they put themselves into position to get it down there and actually kick goals. Noah Bolter squirted out the back a couple times. Those free kicks that came into Lynch, but it all started at the back end of the ground for the Tigers, where they ran forward handball and pretty much matched our speed and tried to put the same speed on the ball. And it was just an arm wrestle the whole night. I thought we should have buried him at the end. Thought Charlie was going to kick one. Boyd was going to kick one. Vlosten, I thought, was unbelievable in that game. He went out, obviously tackled Charlie in the square and took a heap of intercept marks. But the Tigers just kept themselves in it, and I was just glad to walk away with the 4 points, Jev. What do you think watching it live?
Yeah, just watching. Geez, the Tigers are a different side with Tom Lynch in the side, aren't they? They just look so much better with Lynch in the side. With the Gibcus, I already thought it was done, but with the Gibcus injury, I think the Noah Bolter forward experiment is officially done, and he will just be a defender, but he should be. He's a good defender. He's, he can do some serious athletic things. He just does some fucked up, dumb things that we see sometimes that I find hilarious. The full Noah Bolter experience is a hanger on Charlie Curnow, then 3 bounces and a kick out in the floor. So he can do it all. He's a roller coaster for Richmond fans, but yeah, I just it all came down to the end, and you're just the close games kings, aren't you, right now, Carlton? Your last 6 wins or 5 wins or whatever it is have been by under a goal, close games, and that's when your role players step up and get it done. I was writing my notes, so when Charlie Curnow got tackled on the line by Vlosten and was holding the ball, but Richmond had the ball. They just tried to do a little hit up, and it was an Akers spoil where he just kept working. He got there, then tackle, and then he got it to Charlie. Charlie got tackled on the line. Cottrell, Kemp, 2 versus 1 mark, then turnover. Your role players who I don't think are that good, but winning games and winning close games, and if everyone on the field knows what they got to do, it's just golden for the Blues. So you can't be angry at winning, can you?
No, I still had Tigers finishing. I think me and you both had them finish down towards the bottom end. But at the start of the season, you'd like to think pretty much both teams are fresh. And with those guys coming in, they're still a good side. And if those guys can stay healthy, they'll still run some teams to push them towards the very end and still might even surprise a couple teams. But I would have been extremely disappointed if we didn't run over the top of them. They pretty much had one on the bench for a quarter and a half. So that's what I mean. Hats off to them. we won ugly, but you want to stack wins at the first half of the year and then hopefully, like the Pies did, do a little bit of a mini preseason and then come back and then really hit firing for the end of the season. But I got some odds here, Jev. So Mackay for 3 goals was $2.40. So, okay.
He was really good again, though, wasn't he?
He was. Both the Mackay boys this week, which we'll touch on Ben as well. Noah Bolter for 3 snags, Jev, was $8.75. I don't think anyone had that. A couple of shorter ones. Nice. Dusty for 2 goals, which is $2.90. If you love Dusty, keep putting him in there. He's going to keep getting chances. And Matt Owies, the little selfish prick, $2.55 for 2 goals. I know. I don't care what people say about him. He's a good set shot, Jev. He does his job. Yeah. He does go back and absolutely slots them. And then if you go through for disposals, the main ones that we want to look for, Jev. So Cripper had most touches on ground with 31. He's paying $4 for 30.
Yeah, it's nice. That's really nice. And you're putting him on Brownlow watch, aren't you, Crip?
I'll go through that in a minute. But McGovern, Jev, had 26 disposals. He was paying $10 for 25.
That's nice.
Which is really nice. And then there's just a couple of the other small guys for singles, like Tom De Koning, Jev, for a goal. Him and Chera both $2.90. So if you like De Koning, he went forward, he kicked 1 goal too. But my big 3 takeaways from it is De Koning could be anything, Jev. Like we always mention how important Max Gawn is to the Ds when he's firing. But De Koning, you watch him play then, like he pretty much had to go the whole game. And I thought he did really well. He went forward and sky's the limits for the kid. Brownlow watch 100%, Jev. It is Cripper. He polls so well. And the first 2 games, don't be surprised if he's walking away with 5 to 6 votes. There's going to be a couple of guys early. You could be looking at Heaney, could be looking at Rao, but he started off at about $21 and he's into 15 at the moment. I think he's maybe just pushed out $1 or 2. But when the market moves, you need to be watching it. But my only concern is, Jev, shades of 2023. So obviously we always talk about you just want to win. But it's about how you win, because we started off last year 3 wins and a draw. I'm like, it doesn't matter, we're winning. But there was a lot of holes in our games. We then went on to lose 7 out of our next 8, and that became so clear that we had holes in our game. So even though we're winning, I thought that like we're still trying to get like Martin to come back in, whether Walsh does. Like you were trying to rotate through Young, Kemp, and all those guys down back. So obviously we still got some more pieces. We got Elijah Hollins to come in as well because he will start as well. So Cunningham's out. So we've still got a lot of moving pieces. No time to panic, obviously, because we're 2 wins. We're in a great spot. But yeah, that's just something to look forward to. I want to see us actually burying a few sides and not just winning by under a goal every week.
I want to know if Richmond fans think, because I know some Richmond fans love Shai Bolton and then some fucking hate him or just don't think he's as good as the media might say he is. But did he shit himself on that last contest when he had a chance to bodyline the ball, pick it up and have a snap at goal to put Richmond in front? Was there a bit of pants pooing sort of thing? Will there be some skid marks in his jocks? I don't reckon he went hard enough. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but I'd love to hear from Richmond fans. If any are in the comments or anything, let us know if he shit himself, because I wasn't happy with it. And one other note I had down here, Dust. Yeah, you would have been. Should Lewis Young give Jacob Wiedering a third of his match payments, because Jacob Wiedering has made Lewis Young an AFL standard player, because without Wiedering out there, Lewis Young gets hung out to dry. So I'm thinking he should, a GoFundMe page for Jacob Wiedering saying, he should be giving him massages to get him back out there, because when he is not out there, Jacob Wiedering, Lewis Young can look average, can't he?
Wiedering still needs the money. He got absolutely scammed by the Nigerian prince last year, Jev. That's why if you actually went out on Punt Road, he was there after the game. You know the blokes that do your windows? That's Wiedering. He still doesn't have any cash. The Nigerian prince has got him.
The Carlton song on a banjo after the game. I thought he was busking out the front of the G. He should just get some cash from Lewis Young, and Lewis Young should thank Wiedering every damn day. Fucking hell.
As I said, Jev, I think zipping, like we could have easily been zipping 2, but we're 2-0. But same thing, we got North coming up that I think we should win. Then we've got Adelaide, Freo at Gather Round, and then Adelaide at home. And then the next one up, that's the Giants. So I just we could be 5-0, we could be 4-1, but it's not until we get later in the year and hopefully we can stay a little bit healthy, we're really going to know if the Blues are serious contenders or not.
You've already got to buy now, don't you? You're going to buy this week. Oh, golden. You'd absolutely love that. So That's win. Right, let's get on to the next game, Das. The next game, the Sydney Swans beat the Collingwood Magpies by 33 points. Chad Warner kicked the first goal at 23-1 in the TNs, stole it straight out of Nick Dacos's pocket. He Eshe led him at the station, took his TNs and kicked the first at 23-1.
Oh, Eshe, man.
Oh, you make a couple of comments on this game and then uncage me, unlock me.
No, I think when I was listening to this one, Jeb, it got to, if there was 15 minutes to go in the last quarter, I think they were both saying on the radio here, guarantee both captains, if they could right now, they'd just shake hands and call it off. So there's no point in looking at the rest of the game. You guys did the damage early, Jeb. I'll let you take it away. You were there, and geez, you were happy with it. Let's go.
This was absolute domination, Das. I was sitting on level 4, and I want to take if I was to take the emotion out of it, and the Swans were just in grey jumpers and Collingwood were just in, say, all black jumpers, and you didn't know which team was, we were bigger, stronger, faster, tougher, better coached, everything, more talented, absolutely everything. We were just so much better all over the field than Collingwood were. And I don't know if it's a premiership hangover or you've heard it before, like Geelong missed the finals last year. When you play in a grand final, you're just 4 weeks behind everyone else going into the next preseason. So Collingwood win the flag. You think a team like the Dogs, who can make finals, would have started preseason and running probably the week after grand final day because they've had 4 weeks off since then. Whereas Collingwood they get probably 4 or 5 weeks rest, then they get back into it, but blokes are still injured and bodies are stuffed and there's off-season surgeries and all this. And then, you ease into the season. So I don't want to write Collingwood off yet, but while they are battling, geez, their role players that won them a premiership look so fucking average on the field. They had, I'm going to go through some names, so Jeremy Howe, had to put him forward because he was getting bathed down the back line. Braden Maynard got a bit of a bath. What's his name? Charlie Dean. Oh my God, he's winning. Him and Darcy Moore are fighting for the reverse Coleman like it's the Brownlow. They're both leading the reverse Coleman by about 7 goals plus. Who was that? Charlie Dean. Darcy Moore's had a bad start to the season. Sidebottom hasn't been great. Pendles hasn't been great. I'm sick of hearing Lockie Schultz being compared to Cyril Rioli. Fucking hell. Just because he came from Perth, they're like, oh, isn't that a good get for the reigning premiers? How good's Lockie Schultz? I'm like, guess who had more possessions in the first quarter, Das? Lockie Schultz or the Sky Cam? When the ball hit the Sky Cam above the ground, it had more possessions than Lockie fucking Schultz. Oh my God, he ended with 2 goals. They were both junk time crap. Ash Johnson's, he was horrible. Brody Myercheck, he kicked 5 on us last year, and then he was kept very quiet, which I was happy with. Lipinski, Jamie Allen, McCreary was still good. Jack Chris wasn't much. Will Hoskin, Elliott, Oleg Markov. I don't want to be a dog, but now I look at these names, and because I just watched the Swans absolutely dominate, I'm like, oh, they've got some work to do, and they look average now. But another thing I noticed, the Swans do not shirk a task. When it's time to body line a ball and put your eyes over the ball and do it, every single one of the 22 of the Swans just do it. It must be a standard at the club. They're hard at the ball. They just do what they got to do. Dacos in person, Nick Dacos in person, watching from level 4, is just the way he moves around the field. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. His little cuts and the angles he runs, and he puts he puts his butt out of the way to get tackled, and then he does it again, and he zigs and he zags when he runs. He's just incredible to watch. Yeah, another note, Darcy Moore and Charlie Dean are about 7 goals ahead in the reverse Coleman. Collingwood have that many average players. Das, can you tell me what Nick Dacos right now is paying for the Brownlow, if you can look that up for me?
Yeah, I think he's at $7.
$7. So we started 5-1, and we said it all off season. 5-1 is just way too short to have a bet for him in the Brownlow. He's had 34 in 1 week 1, 35 in 1 week 2, and he's probably on 0 Brownlow votes, I'd say. And it's like, if you want to buy now on Nick Dacos because he's playing good enough to be winning the Brownlow, but I don't reckon he's on a vote. I don't know if you agree or disagree, or Pies fans agree or disagree. But Isaac Heaney, Das and Chad Warner were both absolutely dominant. In the second quarter, we kicked about 4 goals in 10 minutes, 3 Joe the Gooses, and Isaac Heaney touched the ball in every one of them in the middle of the field. And he just looked bigger, stronger, faster than everyone. He was clean. Chad Warner breaking tackles. It was a good night to be a Swans fan. I was bloody happy after the game, and I'm just reassured me. I've already made the call that one of the 4 prelim spots are taken by the Swans, and then seeing them in person, they're looking physical, they're looking big. I was super impressed, so I'm super confident in the Swans, especially when we're missing 3 starting midfielders.
Yeah, Jev, you pretty much summed up well there. 2 things I want to touch on. Logan McDonald took the ball by the horns, Jev, and he kicked a couple of the best goals you can kick in the game. It's not the snap from the pocket. It's not the one from 50. It's the Joe Lagoose in the square. If you can get one over the top, run into the square, pump it, it's the best goal to kick. That means your team's done something really well up the ground, or you're just cheating behind the footy, what I used to do. So either way, it's the best goal in the game. As you did mention, Jev, we have a market mover. So on the 100K footy show, which will be coming out next week, where we actually go through the 100K, we're going to have a new segment called The Market Mover. So there's Dickie there. So we've just had a Heaney 6 Brownlow votes. Well, can I tell you, this is the biggest market mover in the AFL so far. Isaac Heaney, Jev, before the season, 251 to 1 for the Brownlow. He's into $18 at the moment. So he's being absolutely smashed in. We know how talented he is, Jev, and sometimes you can almost get lost on that half forward line, but Jesus, it's looking like it's working. Go in the midfield. He's always strong, tough. Sometimes, even last year, he'd go in and tag Cripps, and he'd like strength for strength, run with him. 100% he can. So, and he uses it so well. So I love him going in the midfield. Jev, you guys are looking scary, and I cannot wait for you guys versus GWS, the Battle of the Bridge. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Is that what you want, Battle of the Bridge?
Yeah. And then Isaac Heaney goes and rests in the goal square now, and he swaps with Chad Warner. So they were both, when they're resting, if they're not on the bench, they're just resting out of the cube. And like Heaney's going down there with that much confidence now. And he's like, I'm dominating this game. Just get it in here. And you saw him. He was 1-on-1 with Charlie Dean. A poor bloke in his second game panicked. But Heaney fell over, stood back up, bodied him and took the mark. So, yeah, he was unbelievable. Chad's unbelievable. I reckon they're both polled in the first 2 games. Whether they got 3s, they got 2s, whatever. But Logan McDonald does for 4 goals, paid 19 to 1, which would have been nice, real nice. Oh. Chad Warner for 3, paid 17 to 1. You could get $2.80 for Nick Dacos for 35, $2.75 for Goulden for 30. Goulden was on 21 at 3/4 time. Or I think he was even on 19. He had 11 in the last quarter. And then Isaac Heaney for 25 was $2.85. For 2 goals was $3.40. You could get 10 to 1 for Isaac Heaney's game on his own. So, yeah, I couldn't be happier as a Swan supporter. And as a Carlton supporter and a Swan supporter, how good was it being 2-0
before other teams have played,
and 10 other teams hadn't played an AFL game yet, and we're 2-0? It's like, this is perfect. So, what a game.
Before we go into the next game, Jev, we do have a new segment for the Sunday roast. We haven't got a name for it yet, but who are you putting in the gun, Jev? Who are you taking around the back? You've got 2 pallets here, Jev. If you want to use them, I'll put them in the shotgun. Crack it. Who are you taking around the back and putting one between?
I can't do it. Scott Pendlebury.
Oh, Jev, he's arguably the greatest Collingwood player of all time. What happened?
No, I'm not writing him off yet, but when I was emotional and live at the game on Friday night, I'm just like, someone take Pendles out the back and shoot him. He's done. But he's a champion. He's such a star. He'll ease into his season. He's too good. He's too experienced. He's too smart. He'll probably win Norm Smith on grand final day. But yeah, anyway, I can't write off Scott Pendlebury yet, Dars. There's someone later that I can write off like now. But yeah, I was a bit emotional on Friday when I said someone put a bullet in Scott Pendlebury. He's done, but he's not. He's a champion. His season will just get better. Let's get on to the next game, Dars.
And also, Dickie, I'll get to that when we get to the Gold Coast game, because I do have that.
Said, what at that, Mickey, our Brownlow Shark, what was Rao paying before the season? So we'll get to that when we get there. Yep. Essendon versus Hawthorn, 110 or 130, whatever it was, at the MCG. We were there. Essendon win by 4 goals, 24 points. Talk to me, Das.
Jev, it was a cracking day. I got quite sunburned. We got some tickets late in the sun, level 1, and absolutely scorching. Wasn't thinking I was going to have as many beers. Obviously, we had our pie contest, Jev. I had to eat a pie for every tall Essendon forward, and you had to have a pie for every Hawk small. You only had to have 2. I only had to have 5. So a bit disappointed. We thought we might be in the teens. Luckily, I didn't have Stringer because he ended up kicking 4. But Matt Welfie, Jev. Welfie. I don't know how to pronounce his name, for first snag. You couldn't even get on him at Sportsbet. He's not even in the system. I don't think they even know who he is. So, and then I looked at Jeff because he kicked a snag as well, a couple snags. So I went to look to see what he was in the markets for that. There is no market for him. There is no markets in goals, even though he's playing forward. But he went there. I thought it was a pretty fun game. Like, it was good. About 3/4 time. Then the Bombers definitely did get on top in the last quarter. Their centre clearance work was definitely much better, where I thought that's where the Hawks actually might dominate that end of the game. I thought Jack Ginnivan's first half was fucking awesome. He was everywhere, kicked a couple snags. I think he had to finish with around 20 touches. Dylan Moore was really good throughout the whole game. Mitch Lewis didn't get near it. He got absolutely bathed by Ben Mackay. I thought he played a really good game, but you didn't really. I sort of noticed Archie Perkins when he kicked the goals and then like sort of around stoppages, but I didn't know that he had 24 touches as well. I thought he would have been a little bit lower. I yelled out at Mason Redmond early in the first quarter to get a haircut, which I thought was pretty fucking funny, seeing as he shaved his hair. It was a pretty fun game, and got to touch on Jev. I was pretty disappointed. The Wiz. I went all in on him, Jev. We had 25 on him, I think, for the first snag, 50 for 1 goal, 50 for 2, 50 for 3, and 50 for 4. So we thought he might dominate on debut. He didn't get near it. Feel bad for the kid. You see him out on the bench. He was trying to get a rub down, do anything to get into the game. But, hey, really good game by the Bombers, and I enjoyed it. What did you take away from it?
There's a saying in the NFL, Das. So Dak Prescott, right, Dallas Cowboys quarterback, he gets paid about $50 million. But they say Jerry Jones makes his contract in one Dallas home game. So when they do a home game and all the fans come in and they drink and they eat and they buy their tickets and everything and all this shit happens, it's only one game to pay Dak Prescott that $50 million. Like, that's how he gets the money. Ben Mackay just made his whole year's contract in that one game, and Essendon fans should be absolutely wrapped with that performance. I reckon he was the reason they won. It was a scrappy game. Both teams were a little bit scrappy in the first half. You could tell they were trying, but they were just a bit off. Like, it is hard round 1 or round 0 or whatever. But then in the second half, he just became a brick wall at centre half back. You couldn't get around him. He was marking everything. He shut the game down, and he basically just made his money and his whole contract worth it then and there. I thought he was great in the second half. Essendon fans should be absolutely wrapped. I was a bit disappointed with Hawthorn. Sicily was horrible, Das. Absolutely horrible. I don't know if he was sunstroked or something, or he didn't have enough sunscreen on or something. He only had 11 touches.
Well, the only reason why I thought about that as well, because usually he takes all the kickouts. Like, Bombers only kicked 1 point late. They finished 17 goals, 5.
Yeah.
Usually, they weren't getting any kickouts, and he was just in no man's land, was he, for the whole time? Like, 3-4 touches the first quarter. We thought he'd get rolled. He had no impact. None.
You said he had 37 out of the last 40 games, had him in the 100K. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with the Hawks. I don't know. I remember Kingy coming on, and he's like, geez, they're going to be exciting, like flying off half back. They're going to just ball move and everything. And I wasn't that impressed with how fast they were moving the ball. In the first half, they had a couple that just flew from the back line to good shots on goal. Gunston looked like he did look really good, Jack Gunston. Bit of an old dog. He'll get better as the season goes on. Mitch Lewis was a bit like, Mitch Lewis is going to be a gun, but he was a bit like 50-50. Marvio Chol looked good. But I think Ginnivan was the standout. 2 phones, Marvio Chol. This is the new celebration when he kicks his own. You go 2 phones. They're in one's not enough. They're ringing that much. But Ginnivan was 100% the standout of the forwards. Bruce had a bit of a shock and he missed an easy goal. And Nick Watson, the Fizz, played the worst role I've ever seen for a small forward. And I feel bad for him. I feel so bad for him. It's like he wasn't allowed to lead up at the ball. Like, he wasn't actually allowed to get the ball. He wasn't allowed to crumb the ball. It's like he He was just like running around like out of the way of everyone, and he never called for the ball, like running back to goal like in a one-on-one. It's like, nah, only Gunston or Thing get that ball. And it's like, oh, it was a tough debut for the Fizz. I was very, very disappointed in his role. I just wanted to see him give him the 50 by himself, like build his confidence from round one, get it in there when he's one-on-one. He had a couple of quick shots at goal, which one day he'll have 3 kicks, 3 goals in a quarter, and everyone will be like, how good's this bloke? But he was super disappointing. And is there anything else? Oh, I liked the Bombers forward line as well. Like, Harry Jones doesn't need to fucking play. He was useless, but Langford looked good. Took Langford all game to get going, but he kicked 3 in the last quarter or 3 in the second half.
Yeah.
2 meter Peter was good early. He was good all day. He was flying at everything. He was bringing it to ground. And Jake Stringer was great. It's contract year Stringer, and he's going to be a problem on contract year. He's going to get that payday one more time. He looked fit. He looked strong. He looked confident. He looked good. So if I'm an Essendon fan, I'm happy. They're not going to kick 17 goals 5 every week, whereas Hawks kicked 11 goals 17 to 17 goals 5. Like, that's only 22 scoring shots to what? 27 or something, 28. So, like, you can say they got lucky, but they won the game. They put it away in the last quarter when they had to. They did what they had to do to get a win. So it's a perfect start to the season for the Bombers, but they can't rely on kicking 17 goals 5 every week, but they were getting good set shots at goal. Nice and deep entries. They were kicking a couple out of their ass, but Langford, his 3 were all like 20 metres out, and he just slotted them. So, yeah, I was a little disappointed in the Hawks. I thought they were going to be a bit more exciting, a bit better than that. John Newcombe wasn't that great. They missed Will Day. I don't know. Connor Nash he didn't stand out too much. I don't know why Finn McGuinness was the sub. Like, he's a tagger. Start him. Is Toddy going to keep Draper out? Ryan Coates. Todd Goldstein wasn't too bad. He's the perfect backup ruckman for Draper. They might play 1 or 2 games together, then it's Draper's team. Let Goldstein just stay ready.
Yeah, Draper's groins are guitar strings at the moment. But some stats, Jeb. So Jake Stringer for 4 snags. That's a Carlton draft mid-strength at the Footy. $11.50 that was. $11.50 for a mid-strength. He's an absolute bargain. Make sure you get to the G and start pumping him. Dylan Moore, Jeb.
It's not a bargain.
That's not. 3 snags. Dylan Moore for 3 snags was 21. And for 2, he was 580. So if you like your Hawks small forwards, because they're all pretty pricey, actually. So pick whoever you like for maybe a 2 or 3. And Perkins was $3.25 for 2 goals. Over on the touches, only really 3 that really made you any money. Andrew McGrath had 33. He was paying $7.25 for 30. That's so nice, maybe he's pushing into the midfield a little bit more, not playing so much the half-back line. That could be a market to look at. Massimo D'Ambrosio had 29, Jeb. The Massimo Curry, for 25 touches, he was paying $6. So that's some good money. And Weddle. I know maybe we thought the media got to his head a little bit too much, Jeff, early in the game. He was trying to take a few bounces in the middle, got caught holding the ball. But for 20 touches, $3.30. So if he's getting around that 20 touches mark, that you want your halfbacks to do, which you'd probably expect Sicily to get, as we did mention, $3.30. That's an absolute pocket filler for that one. But hopefully the Wiz gets firing next week. And, yeah, I still think the Hawks moved it pretty well in transition, but they just couldn't finish.
I think we're going to have to make a bet about you all preseason carrying on that the Hawks are going to finish higher than the Bombers. I think you need to be held accountable for that call, so I'm going to workshop a bet, and I want to see if you want to double down on it, because now they're 1-0 against each other, and so yeah, let's keep moving on, Da. So the next game, the Giants just did what they had to do, beat North by 39 points. Jesse Hogan kicked 6. I don't know who kicked the first. I'm hoping you've got that.
Yeah, I got it.
Talk to me.
Yeah, so Jake Riccardi kicked the first, Jev, at $13. It seems to be about the big price point for any key forward, around that $11 to $13 mark. As you mentioned, Jev, just standard on business at home, just got it done. They didn't have to do anything like out of the box. But North pushed them, not to the extent that you ever thought they were going to win, but they were thereabouts, like around half time and like 3/4 time. Like they're only 4 or 5 goals down. At half time, they're only 2 goals down. North had kicked 8 straight to half time. So obviously made the most of what they could. And then, only 4 goals down at 3/4 time, and then finished only losing, what'd we say, by 39 points. I know it looks like a lot, 39 points, but I didn't think they were uncompetitive. And like they actually had a crack. we were really excited to see Colby McKercher, and he got off to a fly. So he had the 22 touches. We'll touch on how much he paid. But Jesse Hogan, Jev, Melbourne must be kicking themselves. Freo must be kicking themselves. They're like, fuck, why couldn't we get this guy straight? He's a gun. And you know who else is going to be fucking fantastic? And it's not so much about where you get drafted to. That's why still got some concerns whether Harley Reid will like flourish as much as we'd hope compared to like maybe a Sanders or like some of these other kids are getting into a good spot. Aaron Cadman is going to be a fucking star. And what a team to come into. He looks like he's put on 5-6 kilos of muscle compared to last year. That first practice game, attacking the footy, running out, trying to take big marks, super athletic. If anyone that does know, he was the number 1 pick from 2 years ago, and he played wing his whole life. And then he just went forward for one season, and then they drafted him as a full forward. A lot of forwards take a while to come on. He's like, what a forward line to come into. You got Toby Green around you. You've got Brown that's kicking goals. You've got Binger Daniels kicking goals, even though he didn't on the weekend. You got Bedford there. You've got a perfect blend of talls and smalls. Giants just get it done, Jev. What else did you see?
Yeah, you saw the fingerprints of North ball all over. So you could see him coming off half-back line, getting it in Sheezel's hands, McKercher's hands, some good kicks hands, LDU's hands, and they were getting really dangerous deep entries where Larky, who's a bloody good player, could go to work. I'm looking at some other goal kickers here, like Paul Curtis could look good down there. Zane Dursman looks like he can absolutely play. Jaden Stevenson's the best he's looked. Oh, his hair's not the best it's looked, but he looked the best he's looked in a while. But I like what I saw from North Melbourne. They just can't defend. Their key backs are just horrible. And Jesse Hogan is a beautiful kick of the footy. But we're going to talk about the real Brownlow watched us. 1 goal, 37 touches, 145 AFL. Best on ground, maybe second best on ground. Tom Green, again, was just unbelievable, Das. He gets the ball in. It feels like every time there's a stoppage, he gets a touch of it. He is on a tear. He's fit. He's strong. I am so bullish on this Brownlow tip, Tom Green.
I know you are, and that's why I wanted to say, Jev, we've got a video. We'll repost it. You said at the start of the year, $21 for the Brownlow is just disrespectful because he's into $8 at the moment. $8 Tom Green, and he's getting smashed in. And we know that you've got a voucher up on the wall as well. So you've got him for 21 and at 15s as well. That's now into 8. So some money for the game. So Tom Green for 35 touches. He's only 275, which is unbelievably short. So Hogan for 6 goals, Jeb, was 1150. For 5 goals was 560, and for 4 goals was $3. So
but yeah, could have made some good cash though.
Yeah, so if you like him forwards as well, if you like him for 4, 5, and 6, that's where you make a bit of coin. Riccardi was $4 for 3 snags. Josh Kelly for 2 goals was $6.25, and Dersma for 2 goals was $3.80. Now the only ones for touches that you want to look at, so Cogs for 30 touches, Jev, $2.15. He just gets it done again.
Gets it done.
This is the money mover of the game, Jev. Tom Powell for 25 plus touches for North. $8.25.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice.
Know, almost like the Hawks last year, they just want to get the ball in the hands of all the young guys and just sort of run. If they get scored on, they will. But if you are looking to put some of these guys into your bets, some of these names that if they're getting minutes in there, they're probably likely to still get a lot of touches. So $8.25. And that doesn't mean you have to stack your multi with 5 or 6 legs. Like go the 1 out legs. Well, obviously, you know, you had McKercher for 25 that just didn't hit, which was $8.25 as well. But yeah, GWS stand on business. They get it done. North will lick their wounds, and they definitely don't look as bad as what you think. And I think that they're going to be pretty exciting to watch this year, Jev.
Oh, but I'm nervous about Good Friday for him. We'll get into that later. We'll get into that in a couple of weeks. Harry Sheezel picked up where he left off. What a player. Another 32 touches, 120 AFL fantasy points. Like, he's a good footballer for a 19-year-old. And there was one other player. Yeah, Cole McKercher, 22. Oh, Toby Green. 0 goals 4, 21 touches. He's on You're Not Hot, You're Hot or You're Due watch, and he is due. But he's actually been good the first 2 weeks. You can tell he's a team player. Like it's whatever he needs for GWS. He gets around a few more stoppages. He gets up the ground. They had Colby McKercher on him. I was loving watching it. He was just running around everywhere he went and then trying to get involved in the offense. What a learning experience for the first kid playing on Toby Green. And you can see Tobes wasn't liking it because he was taking a few marks and giving him a couple of those elbows to the chest and stuff. So typical Tobes. It was good to watch. Perfect game for the first kid. But he will be like licking his lips for a bag of five soon, Tobes, won't he?
I almost think watching the first two games, he's like, fuck, as long as we're winning, we're going to get to finals and I'll step up and when the team needs. Like, as long as they're winning, I don't think he doesn't seem too concerned, like demanding the ball as much. Maybe in the bigger games he will, but fuck, as long as they're winning, I don't think he really cares. The next game, Jev, so Geelong and St Kilda. The Cats win by 8. They get it done at home. Obviously, we know the Saints have a few injuries as well. Tim Membry kicked the first at $13. Jev, I just want to touch on it. The Cats have found another one. Oliver Dempsey kicked 3 goals and had 15 touches. For 3 goals, he was paying $16, and for 15 touches, he was $1.90. So I'm sure all his family and friends would have had money on him. Yeah, they would have absolutely cashed. Another one that I love, Jev, give Jez the card. That is goal of the year. That was unbelievable. Did you see it in the first quarter?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Oh, he got it from the wing, popped it up, got the ball back, came through, and then went and sliced it from the pocket. Jeremy Cameron he's top shelf. If there's like the toppest of shelves. I think we spoke about this last year. He's one of those players, like these sort of guys that do freakish stuff on field. Imagine the sort of shit they've done at training. Like
what he can do to a football, his ball kicking skills are just out of this world. You could tell he'd be able to do set shots where he can make it swing one way, swing the other. He could do everything with a footy, I reckon. He's a ballologist. He makes it swing and dance and everything. He's a ballologist, Jeremy Cameron. You can wrap up this game however you want. I know some Saints fans are blaming umpires, this and that. Want to know what it was for me, Das? The Saints are lacking an A grader. They are lacking an absolute A+ grader. And I reckon they'll say that themselves because tell you who won in the game? Fucking Pat Dangerfield, like Geelong superstar, one of the best players the last 15 years, takes the mark, wins the game for Geelong in the last minute and like seals the game. And it's like there is your A+ grader. And I'm just like, who is that for St Kilda? Who's the one? Who's the Bontempelli? Who's the Cripps? Like, jump on my back, boys. I'm winning this game for us. And as much as I like the Saints and the Saints are going to be good this year, they're probably going to be around that 6th, 7th, 8th mark. I reckon they're going to have to scrap and claw for every win like they were last night because they just lack some talent. They just lack a real A grader. So I might be judging them harshly, but just watch. I was watching at the pub with no commentary, just what I saw. And it's like, they're good. They're well coached. They got a good defense. They got some good kids, some nice kicks of the footy, a good forward line. But where is their Bontempelli? Where is their Pat Cripps? Where's their gun midfielder? So maybe I'm being a bit harsh. What do you reckon?
No, I think it's sort of fair. And like we'll see as the season comes on, sometimes like one of the young kids will really step up. It was a good last quarter though, Jev. There was 8 goals. So it was 4 goals apiece. But I got 3 things on the Saints. Like, look, I still think you obviously want to win every game. You've only lost by a goal. You've gone down to Geelong. Not many teams beat them there. But 3 things I took away. I know Darcy Wilson's first game, kicked 2 goals, was awesome. But you talk about St Kilda being a really big running side and like how much like you want to link up those players. So Brad Hill and Darcy Wilson, they combined only for 23 touches. So I'm sure coming through the back end of the year, you want those guys to almost be getting 20 each. So you're really running teams off your legs. Number 2, Mitch Owens only had the 11 touches. He's such a gun and so impactful. We heard all the talk about, like, obviously you don't want him playing in the ruck, but is there something where you can get him in the midfield a little bit more? Sam Mitchell said on SEN the other day, he loves his forwards to be able to be a 20-touch, 3-goal player. That doesn't mean they're your stats, but you want to be able to get up the ground enough so if you can get 20 touches, but you're still close enough to goal to whether if you can get it 3 goals. So 11 touches. He's one of their best players, want the ball in the hand a little bit more. And also, this could be the reason, Jev, why they buried the Cats and they can finish it. We talk about it a lot. You got to finish your goal kicking. Max King, 2 goals, 4. Like 4 goals, 2, you win the game. Like that's it. And then we're talking about, oh, look, the Saints are really good. It's just the margin is this, Jev, when you get down the very end of it. 2 goals, 4. don't think Ben had a pretty good day either. So not the best weekend for the King brothers. But that's my 3 takeaways from the Saints. But I think they can really push through in the back end of the season.
When they're playing at the same time, they struggle. They miss each other, the King brothers. They don't like playing at the same time because they miss the other one. Fuck me. You got some odds for me?
Yeah, I do. Membry for 3 snags was $6.25. Darcy Wilson, the kid, he for 2 snags was $12. There wasn't much for touches, Jev, but Riley Bonner in his first game for 25 plus was $2.40, and Danger as well for 25 plus was $2.40. So everything around that, Jev, it wasn't a really high possession game, or all the other guys like Marshall Steele, they're only in the dollars, like $50s, $70s for touches. So we didn't want to mention them, but Cats get away with one. They move on. And interesting to see how the next couple of weeks play out for both sides.
Isn't that, as I said before, isn't that the perfect 33-year-old Pat Dangerfield game? 25 touches and the game winner your first game at the Joel Selwood stand.
Liam Stocker won't be walking for a week. Did you see the corky on his ass? Oh. Dangerfield ran into it like he was hobbling off the ground. Jeff, he's in a wheelchair for a week.
Oh no, not the stock pan. All right, let's get into the next game. I'm going to give this one to you because I have seen none of this game. Gold Coast get it done against the Crows by 6 points. I don't know much about this game. I know I saw some highlights of it raining. I saw some players dominated again, but I'm just going to give this one to you. Go for it, Das.
So the Suns end on winning by 6 points. Morgs' man, Skinfolds Ainsworth, he kicked the first at 17-1. The Suns bullied them for the first 3 quarters. Like, it was in the wet, it was torrential, it was shit weather, and the Suns showed up to play. They absolutely, it was men versus boys for 3 quarters. So it was 7 goals 9 to 3 goals 4 at 3-quarter time. Malcolm Roses kicked the first goal at the start of the fourth, and then the Crows kicked 5 in a row. They just came out of and left their run so late. Then Berry dropped his lunch with about 30 seconds to go. He would have had a shot from about 45 to even it up. Matt Rowell gets another clearance, kicks it out, and then that's the ball game. A couple of things I just wanted to mention. Even though, the way that Adelaide played, obviously they didn't have text, but wet conditions, they just looked weak as water. I don't know, how you prepare all season, that's your first crack at it, and they just didn't look like it. Matt Rowell, I'm going to have to go through here. All right, so he's had his clearance work. He looks like a gorilla, Jev. We looked up. I think he weighed 78 kilos when he got drafted. They obviously take that out now. He'd have to be around close to 90, 88. His arms are fucking huge. So he had 20 contested possessions, Jev. So he's had 46 contested possessions and 29 clearances in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. He's fucking on fire.
Let me say that again. Matt Rowell has had 46 contested possessions and 29 clearances in the last 2 weeks.
He's on fire.
That is more than Brad Hill's had in 3 years of football, Jev. That is absolutely fucked. But I do have a new segment, Jev. I'm not sure if you've seen it. So we got the Bag of Frozen Peas Award. So the frozen peas, we're going to give that to Wonder Witsy, Jev. Did you see the Falcon? Oh, like a frying pan to the melon. Jev, it was like the watermelon. Have you seen on The Amazing Race with the chick? She pulls it back and hits him in the face.
Bang.
Oh, Witsy, mate, it was like Mark Viduka, just off his noggin, and he kept going. So we got the Frozen Peas Award for best corky of the week. So we'll give that one to Witsy, but the only thing I would look at with the Giants, with the Suns, Jev, this is 2 weeks in a row where they've been in front. The Tigers kicked 6 in a row against them, and then this week they kicked 5 in a row against them. So they need to be able to stop a nosebleed. Obviously, they've had the leads and they've had the opportunity where they can almost take the foot off the gas a little bit, but that's the only concerning thing. Now, Dickie, I will get to this. So this is the other market mover. So Matt Rowell, he was $67 at the start of the season. He's now into $9, Jev.
Wow.
$9 to win the Brownlow. Look at that. Jeez, Morgs got that up quick.
He was ready for that. He grows, that's not red hair. That's barbed wire he grows out of his face. He's that tough. His face grows barbed wire out. I'm a bit annoyed at myself. I'm usually Death Taxes and Noah Anderson 25 in the 100K multi. Mm-hmm. and I didn't touch it this week, and we've had a bad week in the 100K multi, and he has a goal and 35. He's a stud. We all know he's a stud, so I miss that. I don't want to overreact. I know it's overreaction. Some people hear this Sunday, some people hear this Monday. I don't want to overreact. But there's an old saying, you can't win a flag in preseason, but you can lose one. Have the Crows already cost themselves a flag with their preseason? Have they got it wrong over the summer? They've kicked 3 goals at 3/4 time, the highest scoring offense. Have they tried to go, oh, don't worry, goals take care of themselves. We're going to defend better this year, and then we'll still be the highest scoring offense. And they've done too much defending over preseason. And then they've kicked 1 goal in the first quarter, no goals in the second quarter. They're on 3 goals at 3/4 time. Then they kick 5 in the last quarter. I know the conditions are shit, so I'm trying not to overreact. But if you're a Crows fan and you're on 3 goals at 3/4 time, you are fucking filthy. 3 goals 4. That's 22 points at 3/4 time for the highest scoring offense. Oh, yeah. I don't want to be a dog, but have they fucked it over preseason? I'll give him one mulligan. I want to see him play at home in Adelaide Oval. I'll see what their upcoming schedule is. But, it wasn't good for them.
Yeah, well, their thing, Jeff, if you look at last year, they would pump sides at home and they are shocking away from home. So that's something that they definitely need to address. No Tex as well, I think, when he comes back in the side. But, Jeff, we'll get into some odds. We'll go the mixed bag. Peas are called Chookabutt. That's my old man.
that has to be Morgs doing that. Your old man would not be watching.
Oh, I hope he is. That's hilarious. So, Jeff, Noah Anderson, how tall do you reckon he is? He looks pretty tall. Like, have a guess.
Reasonably tall.
He's 6'4", Jeff.
No, he's 192.
He's He's 6'4".
He's fucking huge.
He's massive.
Wow. I didn't know. I thought he was just like a 183 centimetre midfielder, like a 6-footer.
He's 6'4". We looked today.
Hell.
He's massive. So anyway, Noah Anderson, Jeb, for 35 touches was $8.75. Flanders for 35 plus was $8. Ralph for 25 was $2.15. Ralph for a snag was $3.45. Chook's watching on Instagram. That's hilarious. That's the old man. Rochelle for 3 goals, Jev, was $7. Ainsworth for 2 goals was $3.40. And Ben Keys, only fucking 9 touches. Killed me, but he kicked 2 goals, was $3.80. So interesting to see over the next few weeks how both teams go.
Yeah, absolutely. Gold Coast are off to the perfect start. They would be absolutely wrapped. Absolutely wrapped. So let's get into the Sunday game. I just had to look up then how tall Charlie Curnow is because Noah Anderson's 192. Charlie Curnow's 194. Like, he's 2 centimetres. He's that much shorter than Charlie Curnow. So I did not know he was that big. I'm even more impressed now. Let's get into the Sunday.
One second. And 1 sec. I think we only have an hour on this. I think I just got a message. You're no longer live. It ended, by the way.
Nah, Morgs hasn't said anything. We're all good, Morgs. We're still live. We're still on 20. If we're not live, I know Das will say something racist, so we need to know.
Are
we live, Lou? Let's just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
Next game, we live, Lou? We good? Yeah. You keep coming on saying nothing. You're muted, so I'm just assuming we are.
You're all good.
Yeah,
You're beautiful. G'day, Coco.
Morgs is running a singlet. He's got the pipes out. Must be hot at 100K HQ. Get that singlet off. Oh, the it kit. Morgs is in. Oh, fucking hell.
What'd you say?
Melbourne beat the Dogs by 45 points. They fucking handled them. Aaron Norton kicked the first. It was 2 hours of Aaron Norton and Jamara jumping at the same fucking footy. Let me tell you that. I watched this game. I watched most of the second half. Didn't see a heap of the first half. But the Dogs do not defend properly. Like they are the definition of if you get it wrong over preseason, you've cost yourself a flag. They were fucking horrendous at defending Melbourne today. Horrendous. Like, Melbourne would win it in the back line and just chip their way up to half forward without any pressure. They could go anywhere they wanted on the ground. The Dogs are not up. They're not 0 metres stopping uncontested marks. The average uncontested, I heard this on the radio, the average uncontested marks last year to us was about 80 to 85, AFL average. The Dogs had 114 today or something. Sorry, the D's had 114 on the Dogs. They just chipped it around with ease. Chipped it around with ease up the field, did whatever they want. I would be so disappointed if I was a Dogs fan. They just up to their old tricks, like just do not defend properly. So I watched Collingwood and the Swans, as I said, from level 4. And what it's all about is everyone, so the Swans come forward, the backs come off their man, and then Collingwood come forward, and there's like 50-50 contest in the middle where the pressure is like 250 out of 10, and it's whoever gets it out. And the Swans were just constantly winning those 50-50s, and then the chain would get going, and there'll be a handball over the top, and then there's another guy over the top, and that's how it ends in Joe the Goose's sort of thing. Like, you know, you break that chain, and you get, so it's like, it's not Darcy Moore and Charlie Dean's fault. It's the fault of the middle of the ground when it's a hot footy. The Swans were better, and then the chain happens and someone gets left out the back. The Dogs just don't do that. They're not like, it doesn't look like they're a come forward defense, like elite pressure. They put on no pressure. It was like, it's like they're a fold back defense. Let them chip, let them kick to the top of the goal square. We'll get a fist in and then we'll go from there. But their key backs aren't good enough. Liam Jones isn't good enough. Like, he's lucky it was Van Ruin today, but if that's Charlie Curnow, if that's fucking Harry Mackay, they're going to get him. They're going to fucking get him. They just were so bad. I'd be so angry as a Dogs fan. Melbourne did what they had to do. I did notice Christian Petrarca was just like a centre forward today, nearly a half forward flank. He was definitely he might have been in the mid, but he was a lot more half forward. I saw him centre forward. They were using his kicking skills to get it inside 50. Him and Jack Billings started getting the ball to deliver it inside 50. And they just look so much better than they looked against the Swans last week. They obviously watched the tape. We all saw it in the season opener. They butchered it going inside 50. So to fix it up, get Petrarca, he's your best ball user. Get Jack Billings, get them the ball at 60, 70 out and let them do the work. Petrarca still kicked the goal. And, yeah, I know you didn't see much of this game.
No, but I did have an award, Jeff. I didn't get time to get down to the supermarket, but we've got the first Cucumber of the Year award. This bloke was busier than a cucumber in a women's prison. They call him the veterinarian when he versus the Dogs, Jeff. That is Clayton Oliver. He's touched him up again. This guy's only been training for 8 weeks and he's had another 35 touches. What did you see from him? Because I saw he got clapped off the ground. So he wins our Cucumber of the Week award. I'll make sure I have one next time. We'll send it to you, Clary. Busier than a cucumber in a women's prison. What was he doing?
Yeah, it's just the sort of Dogs' arrogance, which they should be. They go on the field thinking they've got the best midfielder in Bontempelli. They've got Libba and they've got Treloar and Riley Sanders and stuff. It's just they don't tag. They go, no, we'll go head-to-head with this midfield. And Clary just cooked them. Like, they all cooked them. So you can't be... Yeah, I'm not saying you have to tag him. Like, I don't blame him, but he's going to have 35 on your head if you don't put any time into him. He's too good at winning the ball around the ground. So it was just, as I said, it was just super disappointing. So, sorry, first goal kicker was Aaron Norton at 11-1. Clary for 35 paid. Oh, this is goals. Let's go goals. Who kicked him? Kate Chandler, the chin for 3 DAS.
Yeah, I'll get some stats up for you. Yeah.
$14. You could get him for 3.
Van Ruin for 3.
Van Ruin for 3. $5.75. Not too bad.
Ugle for 2. No, he won't pay much.
Ugle for 2 was $1.87. He looks really good. I've got a trade for you in a minute, Das, of who says no. I'll do it in a minute after these stats. Ugle looked good. Any
Neil
other
Bullen
ones
for 2, Jev? Neil Bullen for 2. That would have been a bit.
For 2.
Like 6s?
It should be. $5.80, yeah. He was good. He did his usual work rate. He did this nice one. He made Bontempelli work all the way from Bont's forward line, and he ran the whole ground, and he took a mark right in the Melbourne's forward pocket where Bont had chased him for 150 metres, tried to fizz. Bont fell over. Neil Bullen got up quickly, ran, kicked a goal, and Bont was just like shaking his head filthy that he didn't have any help. Give me some possessions. I got the possessions up here. So yes. Clary for 35, $3.90. Yep. He was $10.50 for 40, but $3.90.
Libba for 32.
Libba for 30 was $3.
Treloar 30.
$2.15. He gets that every week. Geez, he gets a lot of it and doesn't do much with it.
Petrarca, 29. He'd be usual about your $1.30 for 25. But I want to know, Jeff,
to 25 is delicious, mind you.
If you got, I want to know what Jack Billings is for 20 touches. He had 23. We'll come to the question as well soon, Callum.
Jack Billings. I can't see here. They must have thought he was going to be the sub. Yeah, I can't see his name, Dar, so not sure
on this one, Jeff, because we got a question from Callum. How did you see Riley Sanders? I saw that he got subbed off. Was that because apparently he wasn't going to play because of potential, I think, hamstring awareness or whatever? I see he had 5 touches in the first, 6 in the second, 4 in the third, and then got subbed off. Did you hear why?
No, I didn't, to be honest. I don't know why he got subbed off. He looked fine. Like, it was his first game.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn a light on here. He's like, Dars, I got to trade. I'm getting dark over here. I can't even see myself.
Do you have brightness on your screen?
I don't know. Morgs will be filthy at me in his singlet. I'll turn a light on. Darcy, I've got a trade proposal for you.
All right, mate. Turn a light on. I can't see you. There you go, mate.
Morgs will be filthy at me in his singlet. Who says no to fix both their problems? Melbourne and the Dogs, direct swap, direct trade. Melbourne receive Aaron Norton. The Bulldogs receive Stephen May. Stephen May fixes the Dogs' back line. They just hand the keys to Jamara, and they can finally have a key back they can rely on. And then Melbourne get the forward they've wanted forever. They get Aaron Norton, who's a good player. He would be their best forward by a mile. Van Roon can be the number 2. Then they can play all those smalls around Aaron Norton. Who would say no in that trade?
Melbourne.
You'd reckon they'd rather Stephen May?
No, I think Melbourne won't be taking Norton. Like they'd rather have Stephen May. Stephen May's he's a gun.
I agree. He's very good today.
If you're a forward, he'd be one of the least players you'd want to play on.
Yeah.
He's fucking tough and just blue. Like, I think Van Ruin and like Fritsch and like whether they've got that young Matt Jefferson coming through and a couple others that we discussed, like maybe they can come up and play. Like Norton doesn't like win you, like beat your brakes off, does he? So no. I don't know. I just don't think you're getting rid of Stephen May. So that's my
no. I probably agree with you. Stephen May was great today, but the Dogs have just trotted out with. I don't know. I'm off the Dogs right now. I am right off the Dogs. If Morg's saying they're more likely to finish bottom 4 than win a final, might be one of his best takes, the man with the pipes out. So 100%. Bond was good. His goal was so classy. He's still a star. When he gets the ball, it did pop up, but he just looks so good doing it. He's still a star. Disappointed in the Dogs. That was the perfect Melbourne game. They get the lead and they dominate it. Their mids go to work. They get inside 50. They grind out goals. They play defense. That's how Melbourne like it. I said they're not built to come from behind, but when they're 3-4 goals up, that's when they're at their best. And May and Lever are just back there defending. Then they chip it around. They get goals. So well done to Melbourne. They got their first win of the season. Let's go to the next game, Das. This had the potential of a bloodbath. Port Adelaide beat the Eagles by 50 points. Who kicked the first again?
The first snag.
I was watching it. Charlie Dixon kicked the first, ran into an open goal. Joe the Goose. Would have been delicious. I'll those odds in a minute. Did you watch much of this game, Das?
Yeah, I did watch a fair bit of it. And even though it's 50 points, so they would have gone over the line, which is 47.5, I think it was at the start of the game. The first quarter and a half, West Coast actually looked really competitive. Like they were trying to push it through. Harley Reid definitely got his hands on it a lot. Like imagine the pressure he felt. He's all the family there.
Oh, so many photos.
He loves having a go. Do you see when he went through, ran straight through Todd Marshall, stepped over him, but just didn't know that Charlie Dixon was behind him and just put him on his ass. So cop that one, young fella. But I thought that at the end, and then you even look at the stats, Jev, like the Port midfielders, Connor Rozee and Zach Butters, they're just Butters had 27 and 1 and Rozee had 27 and 2. So I don't know. It's probably out of those two for your Brownlow votes. And we said they got 14 games at home. My pick was Butters for the Brownlow just because how tight. When they had these two games, Jev, Butters was always getting the 3. I think Rozee might today just because he got the extra goal and it definitely looks more impactful. But West Coast were all right. Like, they weren't pushovers. Harley Reid got his 16 touches. Zerk Thatcher, Jesus, I don't know, Jeff. But yeah,
West Coast was all right. I remember seeing some. So Harley Reid had 8 disposals in the first quarter. He had a great start. You can see his body is AFL body ready, and he was super clean off the deck, like picking it up, and he looked big and he looked quick first couple of steps in a phone box. I was super impressed with that first quarter. He showed enough for West Coast supporters to be like, thank God, like that is our guy. I remember West Coast on Insta I saw was saying like, you know, when we win the ball back, show your flair off halfback. They had a couple of really nice chains where they would win it. Like Jerry McGovern's still a fucking guy. They would win it. They'd get it to their ball users, and they'd do some nice chains off the half-back line. They were getting it in Tim Kelly's hands. He was like playing half forward, but he was leading up, and then he was slicing and dicing with his skills. So really impressed. And they had like Oscar Allen missed a couple of easy set shot goals. They had some really good set shot goals. Oscar Allen looked good. He looked fit. I heard on the commentary he had a bit of gastro this week, so he's probably a bit zapped of energy for how fit he is. But he's the vice captain of the club now, or is he the captain of the club? I think he's the captain of the club now. Yeah, he looked like he's had his best preseason like ever, and he's mature and he's confident and he just loves the club. So I was super impressed with the way the Nick Oscar Allen is. Yeah, obviously the gastro this week zapped him a bit. Harley Reid looked good. But you're talking about Port Adelaide. So they've kicked, what did they kick? 16-24. It could have easily been 24 goals, 16, and then this would have been real ugly. They looked good. They look like they have borderline, in a way, the perfect list. They've got the 3 key defenders with, now they've got Radigalia and Alir, and then they've got Zerk Thatcher as the third. They got the 3 big forwards with, what's his name? Dixon and
Marshall,
and then Ivan Soldo was rucking. He can go down there. They're probably going to bring Georgiadis back in. They've got the 2A grade midfielders in Rosie and Butters. They've got the gun kicks off half back with Kane Farrell, who was unbelievable today, and Dan Houston. It's like they look like they are like premiership ready, especially at home. They just look Jason Horne-Francis looked good. He looked big. He went down to the goal square. You know, they had a really impressive 22 out on the field today. They would be, they didn't have their best day. They got a dumper like Ollie Wines and Travis Boak just looks like they're cream on the top players now. Like Finn Layson, we absolutely love him. He didn't look like he had to do much today. Will Rioli didn't have to do. Miles Bergman I like. So they look like they've got a team to us that is going to go far. Willem Drew was really good today.
Morgs. Looks like Morgs.
So like Willem, Drew, Horne-Francis, Butters and Rosie, you take that midfield with Ollie Wines coming through there. You take that midfield nearly over anyone's in the comp. Like, yeah, I was impressed by the 22s out there. They look big. They look physical. They look confident. So Port Adelaide supporters would be wrapped with what they saw. They wouldn't be wrapped with the goal kicking and some of the misses, and they probably thought they could have won by more. And a couple of easy goals West Coast were kicking, but that was probably the 3 key defenders playing their first game together and getting it wrong. But, yeah, they're going to be a good team at home, definitely.
Did you want to touch on any stats, or do we want to move on? Was there any?
I'll get the screenshot. You give me some players, and I'll give you some numbers.
So most goals were 3. So Dixon probably wouldn't have been that much, but Petrocelli, what's he paying for 3?
So Dixon was $2.40. Petrocelli was 23-1 for 3. That would have been nice.
Willem Drew
Charlie Dixon kicked first at $9.50. Willem Drew for how many?
2 snags.
You can only get him for 1 at $4.25. That would have been nice. He looked like he leaned down a little bit. He used to be that big brick tagger, big shoulders. He looked like he was lean, fit. Who else for snags?
The Hornet for 2.
Jason Horne-Francis, I just had him. $4.60 for 2. And that's him for a goal is going to be a good bet. Like Butters kicks 1 at where's Zach Butters? Connor Rosie kicks 2 at $2.45. Zach Butters kicks 1 at $1.70. And Horne-Francis kicks 2 at $4.60. And Willem Drew kicks 2. Like they're all your starting mids.
And then touches aren't that much. Butters Rosé at 27. So for 25, I think they were like just like $1.80. I had him at
$1.47 and $1.40. Yeah, Rosé was $1.47. Butters was $1.38. Yep.
All the other touches are pretty low, Jeff. I don't think there'd be anything.
What did Harley Reid pay for 15?
It was like $1.30 for 15.
$1.33 for 15. Yep. Yeah. I think both teams will be happy, but it's going to be some dark days for West Coast because they're still playing these old dogs like like McGovern and Darling to protect the kids, but you know they're not in their next premiership side. So it's like you want to play the kids and get as many games into young guys. Tyler Brockman did some nice things, but one day Darling and McGovern aren't going to be there, and then they're going to have to blood a young centre-half back. I don't know. It's going to be tough. But Das, the number one, take him out the back and put a bullet in him. They're done. Player is Andrew Gaff. He was fucking horrible last year, and he was even fucking worse today. He got subbed off for just being shit, basically. He shirked a contest, and then he had 4 touches, 4 possessions before he got subbed off. I don't know when he got subbed off. Quarter time he had 1, second quarter he had 2, third quarter he had 1, and then he got subbed off at 3/4 time.
Pretty sure he's collecting a paycheck, Jeff. I'm pretty sure he was 700 a year.
So like he should not be in their 22. You got to find who your next premiership players are. Like we know a kid, Harvey Johnson, that got drafted. You'd rather see Harvey Johnson running around for West Coast on the wing than fucking Andrew Gaff if you're a West Coast supporter. Like he was horrible. So that's my only gripe. That's it, Das. Well, I'm just having a look. So it's 5 minutes going, 28-28. 5 minutes go in the first half. Who kicked the first? Eric Hip Jesus kicks the first. I'll give you some odds on that before we go. And then who's had a couple of kick starts? Who started hot for that game?
Ronger's had 23 touches.
Oh my God, he's a freak.
He's $1.45 to 25, so he's almost already hit that.
Eric Hood paid $12.50 for the first. I'll shout out our friends Honest Beers Pod had Nathan Brown on this week. They asked Nathan Brown for his tip, and he said Caleb Sarong is his Brownlow tip. He's like, he's just going to dominate, get 30 every week. Like, he's such a gun in that side. And then you saying he's had 23 before halftime. Yeah. Fucking hell. So good on him. It looks like Freo are controlling the ball. We've got Piers with 12, Luke Ryan with 12, Hayden Young with 12. So, yeah.
All right, before we move on, Jev, so we're going to do pick the line. So just wanted to fly through this because I think we've already been over an hour and 20. So we'll try and skim this down a little bit. So pick the line. So I've written down what I think the lines are. I'm only just checking now, and I could be completely wrong on a lot of these. So we're going to have a look, and we guess whatever we think the lines are for the next week, and we'll see who gets the most amount of right. So, Jev, St Kilda and Collingwood, what did you think the line was?
Oh, it's going to be way tighter. I reckon Collingwood are going to go in favourites, but it's only going to be by about 5.5 points, I reckon.
Yeah, 6.5.
What did you write down?
10.5. I still thought at home because, like, they're going to bounce back. I don't know. I just thought after 2 shockers, it might have been just a little bit more at home at the MCG. So you got that one, Adelaide and Geelong.
I'd be gobbling up the Saints. Until I see different, I would take the Saints with the points there for sure. For sure.
Adelaide and Geelong at home.
Adelaide Oval first game. I'm going to say that's 4.5 points to the Crows. Crows minus 4.5.
I had the Crows minus 2.5 because I thought the Cats were right. It's the Crows minus 13.5.
Wow.
So that's Tex coming back and at home. So they obviously value that a lot.
I'm leaning Geelong in that game for sure.
Biggest thing so far this round, points. If you're getting points, everyone loves a favourite. So that's getting smashed in. So I'd probably lean with you as well, Jev. 13.5 points. Next one, Hawthorn and Essendon at the Hawthorn and Melbourne at the MCG.
I'll say Melbourne favourite. I'll say that's around 15.5, 16.5 maybe.
I said Melbourne 16.5. It's Melbourne minus 27.5.
Whoa, that's a whole extra 5 goals.
I'll be taking the Hawks.
I was so disappointed in the Hawks yesterday. Nah, I'll go Melbourne. I'll take Melbourne. It's probably a few too many points. I think they'll win by about 27. I reckon that line's bang on, to be honest.
They've taken the Freo game out just because they're still playing, which is fine. Yep. So Sydney and Essendon, where'd you have it at?
Oh, wait till I get on the pod this week and talk about this game. The Swans will be favourite. We're probably showing we're nearly the best team in the comps. I'll say we're about 20 points, I reckon we'll be.
I thought he'd be just a little bit closer. I said 14.5, so it's Swans minus 22.5.
Yeah, it's a It's because of how good the Swans have looked. Like, if you lend Essendon's way, we usually play a pretty close game. Gobbling up the 22 points would be nice. I'll probably take the Swans, but it's a lot of points. Like, that's definitely a $1.30 changer to Essendon's direction.
Mm-hmm. Next one. So you got the Bulldogs and Gold Coast down here.
Bulldogs, Gold Coast. Geez, Gold Coast have started hot. Dogs. Oh, I can't say the Dogs are going to be favourite, are they? Dogs minus like 1.5, 2.5. Basic pick 'em.
I'd Gold Coast because they won their first two, minus 3.5. It's the Bulldogs minus 11.5.
11.5. Yeah. Oh, take those. I can't wait to see that change. Take those Gold Coast points for sure. The Bulldogs don't defend properly.
They always say if you like a favourite, bet on them early. If you like an underdog, you know they're going to be an underdog, bet late because everyone's always going to keep betting in the favourite more and more, and you're going to get more and more points. But I'm not sure about that one. That one might swing in.
Take that 11.5 now.
Yeah, Richmond and Port Adelaide.
Adelaide Oval? I think it is. No,
it's at the MCG.
Is it? That'll be Port by about 18.5. I reckon 3 goals.
It's 12.5. Item 14.5. So
yeah, I'd gobble up. Port will beat them by 5 goals.
Yeah, I think so. Mate, this bloke in
you do not miss the pod this week, Matty. There's a tradition I do when it's Swans Bombers week. Matty Crisp, there is a tradition. Do not miss this week's pod.
Last one. So West Coast and GWS over in Perth. So they lost last year.
Yeah, they did.
Giants lost.
That won't fucking happen this. I'm going to say 40 points, 39.5, 40. What it was for North Melbourne this week.
Got about 32, but it's 44.5.
Yeah, I would take GWS in that for sure.
I'd take that.
I'd take that. They'll win by 40, like around that 40. Who are Freo playing? Sorry, Das.
Freo next week. You can't get the line on Freo and someone.
I can't remember who you haven't said.
No, they're still playing round 2.
And then Brisbane and Carlton have a bye, don't they?
It's Freo and North. So,
yeah. Well, let's just have a guess at it. I reckon it'll be. Is it at home for Freo?
No, it's at Marvel. So Freo might just be favored by about 2 goals.
12.5. Yeah, 12.5. I reckon. Yeah, I think Freo will win that game. I think they're going to be a bit better than we think. I think you've undersold them. You've called them a bottom 4 side too early, Das.
I still think
they're beating the line. So that is the Sunday roast. Morg's already got the music playing. He's got dinner ready. He's starving. He's sick of watching us, blokes. DM Supercoach to join the 100K Supercoach League. That starts this week. We'll address that on the pod this week. $100 entry, $75 cash prize for the highest score of the week. You've got a team. I've got a team. Morg's got a team. My team's just the Swans, and we're going to win the fucking league. So come on.
Yeah, just let us know as well. Is the roast too long, or do you want it longer? We don't care.
If you listen on the pod, give it some feedback. I don't know how many. We'll find out how many we had live. But cheers, Dust. Good roast.
Enjoy the roast. Enjoy dinner. Say hello to your mum for me. Bye.